Now at 10 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, the latest on the investigation and cause of yesterday's plane crash at a Victoria intersection.
Victoria ISD Board President Mike Mercer won't seek re-election, what his plans are for the future.
And a man thought to be a missing U.S. citizen is found in Syria, saying he'd recently been freed from jail.
We'll be looking at all the cloud cover that rolled in today. You can see it right about there. We're going to be getting into a rather damp, drizzly kind of situation over the weekend, and you won't be needing the sweater. We'll be talking about that coming up in a moment.
And which teams will advance to AT&T Stadium next week for the state championship games? I'll give you all the details and more coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shauna Curry.
And I'm Don Brubaker. Victoria police are investigating a stabbing tonight. It happened just after 5 this afternoon in the 1900 block of Lawndale Avenue. Police say an altercation between two men led to the stabbing. The victim was taken to the hospital by ambulance. No word at this time on his condition. Police say it's an active investigation.
Federal aviation officials say the pilot in yesterday's plane crash at Zach Lentz Parkway and Mockingbird ran out of fuel, forcing him to make an emergency landing on the highway access road. After landing, the plane hit two light poles and two vehicles, splitting the plane in half. The pilot was en route to the Victoria Regional Airport. His current commercial pilot license was issued in 2019. Local authorities and the National Transportation Safety Board will be investigating further for more details on exactly what happened. And here's a look at who was involved in that crash. The driver of the red Kia Sorento that was crushed under the plane's wing is 68-year-old Jo Weichis Brewer. She is in a San Antonio hospital in critical but stable condition. The other three taken to the hospital have been released. They are the driver of the gray Toyota RAV4 that rolled onto its side, 35-year-old Sergio Lara. The driver of the black Toyota Camry is 26-year-old Clarissa Garcia. A 14-year-old female passenger was also in that vehicle. The pilot, who was not hurt, is 66-year-old Paul Ferroni of Gunter, Texas. Mark Incorporated, the company that owns the aircraft, has not released a statement. And this afternoon, crews removed those three vehicles and the plane from the crash scene, as well as cleaned up the scattered debris. The intersection of Zach Lentz Parkway and Mockingbird is now fully reopened to traffic.
This brings us to our viewer poll. Should private pilots face stricter training and certification requirements? Yes, no, or current certifications are the choices, and 63% of our voters say no, private pilots should not face stricter training and certification requirements. We want to hear from you. Visit crossroadstoday.com/vote to cast your vote, and thank you for voting. The head of the Federal Aviation Administration says he will step down in January. Mike Whitaker announced his pending resignation today in a message to employees of the FAA, saying that his tenure will come to a close on January 20th. The move will clear the way for President-elect Donald Trump to name his choice to lead the agency. Whitaker took the helm last October after the Senate voted overwhelmingly to confirm his nomination by President Biden. Up until then, the FAA had been without a chief for nearly 19 months.
The Victoria ISD Board President will not seek re-election at the end of his current term. Mike Mercer has served on the Victoria ISD Board for 6 years, representing District 7, and he became president of the board in 2021. His current term ends in May. Mercer says he's ready to step back, eager to spend more quality time with his family, but he's confident the community is filled with talented individuals ready to take the reins and continue making a difference.
They've just got to have ears. You know, I learned really quickly on from some of the older board members when I got on, is that you can do so much more good in 5 minutes of listening than you can in 3 hours of talking. And I hope I've practiced that.
Mercer says he will return to public service, being an advocate for education in our community after a short break, but did not provide any specific details.
Big plans are made for the Crossroads Heart and Stroke Walk in February. The walk is the largest in Victoria, and it's the biggest event for the American Heart Association. It's a year-round campaign aimed at raising funds to advance life-saving research, increase CPR education and training, and drive equitable health for all people.
The importance is engagement and education, and I think people need to know the importance of heart health, but not only that, life-saving measures, but also where they can get engaged and involved and be supportive in better lifestyles.
The 7th annual Crossroads Heart and Stroke Walk is set for February 1st at Riverside Park. Next question, how's the weather tomorrow for a nice walk? Let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. The way the weather was today, Mac, it could have been a nice time for a walk and then not, and then back and forth.
Well, we have completely changed our atmosphere from the cool, dry thing that we had this morning when it was 30 degrees to the rather humid situation that we're in now. And we're going to be looking for quite a bit of cloud cover over the weekend. It's coming at us from the south and from the west, but it's going to make it overcast and rather dreary. Little mist and drizzle here. Wouldn't call it heavy rain, but I will call it warmer than normal. Will be in the upper 70s for the weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes. Don, back to you.
Mac, thanks. A state agency is asking lawmakers for $300 million to fix significant neglect in Texas' Medicaid enrollment system. To read the full Texas Tribune article, visit our website, crossroadstoday.com.
1,000 meals are served to the homebound in Victoria and surrounding communities. Meals on Wheels of South Texas and HEB have teamed up to sponsor these holiday meals as part of HEB's Feast of Sharing. This is the 5th year Meals on Wheels of South Texas is taking part in this event. The meals are provided to homebound individuals at no cost.
So Meals on Wheels provides a range of services to help older adults be able to stay in their homes and live nourished lives. We have our home delivered meal program that delivers meals to around 400 seniors in Victoria, DeWitt, and Goliad counties.
Meals on Wheels of South Texas also provides on-site dining at facilities in Victoria and Yorktown.
The 5th annual Christmas giveaway is happening this weekend in memory of Verilyn Sandra Avery, former president and founder of the Old Landmark Committee. The committee will give away toys and food on Saturday from 11:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the American Legion Post 166 on East Santa Rosa Street. They are also in need of volunteers for the event. To volunteer, contact Cynthia Robinson at 361-550-8404.
The Virgin of Guadalupe draws millions of Mexicans and visitors each year to her sanctuary in Mexico City, where they sing, celebrate, and pray. The Basilica of Guadalupe is the second most visited Catholic site in the world, hosting over 7 million pilgrims each year. Honored as the patroness of Latin America and the Empresses of the Americas, her name Guadalupe surprisingly comes from Arabic, meaning river of wolves. 7 in 10 Mexicans are devoted to her, crediting her with miracles like healing, job opportunities, and relationship success. Even scientists and NASA are fascinated by the unexplained mysteries of her image, including silhouettes visible in her eyes.
A missing U.S. man, Travis Timmerman, was found alive in the streets of Damascus, Syria.
Locals found the man walking barefoot in the streets. He says he's been kept in prison for months after entering the country as a pilgrim. Sherelle Hubbard has more details.
Thousands of people have been released from prisons across Syria this week after rebels toppled the country's former president, Bashar al-Assad. One missing Missouri man is saying that he was among them.
What's your name?
Travis.
Chavez?
No.
Country?
United States.
United States?
The United States.
United States.
Travis Timmerman told several media outlets that he'd been in jail for months. He says he was released Monday when 2 men armed with AK-47s broke down his cell door. He was wandering barefoot in Damascus when he was found by residents Thursday. The executive director of the Syrian Emergency Task Force says Timmerman had walked 13 miles.
Thank God we were able to find him and then talk to the new Damascus government. They brought him in got him clothes, got him food, got him water.
Timmerman went missing earlier this year. He told CBS News that he'd been detained for 7 months after entering Syria without permission.
I just started bawling. It was just so emotional. I'm thinking the worst.
In terms of an American citizen who was found just today, I can't give you any details on exactly what's going to happen except to say that we're working to bring him home, to bring him out of Syria and to bring him home.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
President-elect Donald Trump is receiving a financial boost for his inauguration. A source says Amazon will donate $1 million, with founder Jeff Bezos expected to visit Trump soon. Bezos praised Trump's courage after the first assassination attempt against him. Meanwhile, Meta confirmed that it is also donating $1 million following a private meeting between Trump and CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Bezos and Zuckerberg join other tech leaders strengthening ties with the incoming president.
A Justice Department watchdog report reveals no undercover FBI agents were at the Capitol during the January 6th attack, but 26 FBI paid informants were in Washington, D.C. that day, with 3 instructed to monitor domestic terrorism suspects attending the rallies. Some informants entered the Capitol on their own and were not charged. That's what the report says. FBI Director Christopher Wray has rejected claims that the agency was responsible for the violence.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, confusion grows over drone sightings as the White House says they're not what people think.
Also ahead, searches reveal new evidence in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
Texas A&M University bachelor's degree has the highest return on investment among Texas public universities. A new analysis shows the average return on investment for an A&M undergraduate degree is over $861,000. That's about $200,000 more than the average across other Texas public institutions. Also, A&M's return on investment is 28% higher than the national average. The survey shows A&M students can expect to earn almost $52,000 on average 1 year after completing an undergraduate degree program. The White House says they have not been able to confirm any of the reported drone sightings over the Northeast.
Today, the National Security Council spokesman says many of the reported sightings were actually manned aircrafts being flown lawfully.
That is not an airplane.
Today, the White House says they have no evidence the reported mysterious drones spotted in the Northeast are drones at all.
We have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings. To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully.
Today, frustration on Capitol Hill from lawmakers over a lack of transparency.
The Biden administration ought to be acting more aggressively against these drones.
ABC News cannot confirm what these videos show.
They're not small.
The senators from New York and New Jersey calling on the Department of Homeland Security, FAA, and FBI to brief them as soon as possible.
I've been a little frustrated. There hasn't been enough transparency, letting people know what's happening. It's allowing a lot of potentially misinformation to spread, or at least fear.
The Pentagon shooting down this claim from New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew on Fox News.
Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. It's off the east coast of the United States of America.
There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says federal authorities are using sophisticated electronic detection technologies to monitor the skies.
There are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace. Now, that said, we certainly take seriously the threat that can be posed by unmanned aircraft systems.
In California, a Chinese citizen was arrested accused of using a drone to take pictures over a Space Force base. After the launching of a spy satellite last month, that case has not been tied to the sightings in the Northeast. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
Authorities in New York have executed as many as 3 search warrants while investigating the shooting death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. At least 2 of the warrants include a backpack found in Central Park and a burner phone found along the believed getaway route. Investigators previously searched the hostel where suspected gunman Luigi Mangione stayed the night before the killing. They've also searched the hotel room of the victim. After a 5-day manhunt, a tip led to Mangione's arrest Monday in Pennsylvania. That's where he remains in custody at this time. He's facing a murder charge in Thompson's death. Mangione will next be in court on December 23rd in Pennsylvania for a preliminary hearing on state charges. Well, new details are also emerging about Mangione. According to the NYPD, there is no indication that he was ever a client of United Healthcare, but his alleged writings showed general anger toward big corporations. NYPD detectives say Mangione does make mention that United Healthcare is the 5th largest corporation in America, and he had prior knowledge that the conference was taking place on that date at that location. A United Health spokesman also confirmed that Mangione was not insured by United Healthcare. A new study finds that more than 5 million Americans would benefit from taking magic mushrooms for depression.
That is, if the FDA approves it.
Psilocybin, a drug found in some types of mushrooms, may help nearly half of Americans being treated for depression, according to a new study from Emory University. Researchers estimate anywhere between 2.2 to 5.6 million people with depression in the U.S. would qualify for treatment if the FDA were to approve it, something the agency has not done yet. If approved, private and public insurers, such as the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, will shape both the demand and the availability of psychedelic therapy. People who also have other health conditions, such as manic disorder, uncontrolled diabetes, stroke, or substance use disorder, would not qualify for magic mushroom therapy, even if it was legal. Oregon has legalized psilocybin therapy under supervision, and Colorado will soon follow. With this Medical Minute, I'm Zoreen Shah.
Well, good evening, everybody. 63 degrees, not exactly cold. Last night we were about 45. At this hour of the night, everything's changed. Instead of being cold and dry, we're going to be warm and wet. We're looking for our high today was 72. Our morning low was 30. Tomorrow morning we'll barely be about 55. So we'll talk about the warm, damp weekend coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned. Well, during the day today, everything changed for us because the Gulf air started rolling back in. So we've got the overcast. It's going to be with us for about 4 days. And then we've got just enough moisture to get a little drizzle or maybe light rain, certainly by sunrise and throughout most of the day tomorrow. In addition to the Gulf air, we've got a lot of Pacific air riding up and over, and it will be over Texas, which will actually lead to a pretty good chance for rain for the northern half of the state. We'll get some, but not as much as they're going to get. We look at the west coast and you can see another powerful Pacific storm coming in with rain in Northern California, but more importantly, it's the stuff that comes below down along the U.S.-Mexico border. That stuff will eventually get into our area. Watch these temperatures. Not what we had for the last 2 days. To tomorrow morning, 57, the high 75, Saturday 64 to 77, Sunday 63 to 80. What happened to December? It's still here. It's just took a little break. So overnight lows down along the coast about 62. If you're inland areas, you're looking at about mid 50s to upper 50s. So it'll be chilly in the morning, but not necessarily as cold as what we had this morning. I heard some people called in and said they had frost on the grass in the morning. So that was this morning. Tomorrow morning, completely different situation. Notice how all of South Texas will be in the 70s tomorrow, while we basically wait for the next frontal system, which isn't scheduled until about Monday. We'll be certainly watching that for you. All right, so here's the Gulf air. All that southeast wind kicked in, and it'll be kind of strong tomorrow in the 15, 25 mile an hour range. So that just continues to pump up the moisture. Well, in addition to that, we've got this little light rain bands that'll move through the area. I wouldn't expect more than 1/10 of an inch of rain, but you will see a little mist, drizzle, rain, depending on where you're standing, and you'll see a little wet roadways. That's what we need to be careful with. This gets you all the way to Friday. You can see how the deck of cloud just hangs tough all the way through. In fact, all the way to Saturday, as a matter of fact. Then we start seeing a couple of fronts coming in. The first one will be, I believe, on Monday. All right, let's look at it on our long range forecast. How do I say this? In some computer models, they have a very fine mesh, very tight coordinates. In this model, it's a bit wider, so it's more macro, if you catch my drift. And but we use it for long term. It's maybe not as accurate as the short-term ones, but it does give us a good indication of what we expect. And so here you've got your Saturday with rain around. Here you got your Sunday with rain continuing around. Here you got your Monday, and all of a sudden we do have a front coming in. That'll come in Monday night and sort of go through the area, but it's not one of those clear, dry ones. It keeps us on the cloudy and wet side. So as you can see, all the way through Wednesday of next week, and that's when we finally clear out, it's going to be on the damp side. So not cold, but on the drizzly side. So tomorrow morning, 64, about 6 a.m. in Port Lavaca. Looking for cloudy skies all day long with showers and drizzle, and a high of 71. For you in Cuero, you're getting down to about 55 tonight. Not as cold, but we're getting a little on the damp side, so we may get a little bit of mud going there. Just do be cautious in that, and obviously drive carefully in the rain. Now, wet and damp Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Cool front comes in Monday. Doesn't do a whole lot. But the second front, which is on Thursday, that one should get us back down to more December-like weather with a chance for showers. So a little bit of weather coming at us as we get into this December. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Big excitement in the sports world. Max, we've got state semifinals, right?
Yes, we do, Mac. And after the break, I will tell you who moved on to the state championships there in AT&T Stadium. Find out in a few minutes here in sports. All right, everyone, it is that time where I get to tell you everything that happened here in the state semifinals. And tonight, we had 4 area teams left remaining. So without further ado, let's get to the highlights. First, let's begin with the Ganado Indians facing the Joaquin Rams here tonight. And Ganado, they started off fast. They got on the board early, first extending the lead again, got up 7-0. But then for Ganado, this offense is one of the high-powered offenses. Joaquin responded back, and they got a big-time play. It really didn't have that much plays, though, for Joaquin. That was the only big-time score they had. They got to be 14-8 here in this game. That was an 80-yard house call to the house. 2-point conversion was there for Joaquin, but Bryce Ullman made a lot of plays. How about this throw? Gets it in there and touchdown there for the Ganado Indians. They are up 21-8 there at the half, and then afterwards, Ganado would take care of business, winning 35-14 over the Joaquin Rams here tonight. They will now face the Stanford Bulldogs there in, again, the 2A Division I state championship in AT&T Stadium. Again, it is the first time in school history there for Ganado reaching the state championship. Now, over to the Shiner Comanches. They face the Bremen Tigers here tonight in the 2A Division II state semifinals. This game went back and forth starting it off with, and again, for Bremen, they got on the board early there. Nice little run, 7-0 there for the Bremen Tigers. But then how about this play? It was back and forth. Carson Schutte, this is what he's done all year. He makes big time runs, makes big plays, but then look what happens. Fumbles it, and then Shiner recovers it there inside. They're inside the goal line. Makes a big play, but then the next play afterwards, Schutte, this time not so lucky. They fumble it, and the Tigers would respond back to number 21, Jeremiah Scott. And then a big time play later. Look at this throw here from the quarterback. Nice pass there to the outside, there to Braylon Estrada there for Bremen. And then they would score here with the big man. That's 220-pounder Tyreek Scott. Gets it in there for 6. And again, for Bremen, they got some big plays, but guess what? Shiner hangs on and gets the win 41-33 over Bremen. And again, for Shiner, they're back there to the state championship, and they're facing a tough team in the Munster Hornets there. That is going to be next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. there at AT&T Stadium. For Ganado, they're going to be playing at 11 a.m. Thursday in the afternoon. They're the 12-19. But now let's go over to Tidehaven Tigers. They played at the New Caney Randall Reed Stadium versus the Woodville Eagles, who beat Daingerfield Tigers there last week. There in that one. So how will Tidehaven fare in this game? Again, the crowd getting very excited here in this game. And again, how about the big man here, Jason Duran, gets there into the end zone. He made a lot of plays. He was getting injured a lot in this game there from last week's contest. He made a couple plays there for Tidehaven. Again, Cale Russell, though, steps back there into the pocket and then fumbles it here. He made a couple of mistakes, and Woodville would take an answer to, return it all the way for 62 yards there, and Woodville would tie it up there at 7 apiece there in this game. And then afterwards, Jason Duran would get another score. They would get up 14-7 here. Look at the big man go. End zone, touchdown. Tidehaven takes the lead, right? Think they're going to get it done? Well, not so fast. It was 1 minute to go, and Woodville took a pick 6 to the house, and they would get the win there, 28-21. And Tidehaven will not go back-to-back there to the state championship and in that one. But what a great year, though, still for the Tidehaven Tigers. And finally, the Edna Cowboys traveled to Rice Stadium to face the Columbus Cardinals. Edna was undefeated in regular season play and postseason play. But then Grayson Rigdon, look at this man. He's been doing it all year. Big-time rushes there for this man. Gets a big-time on the option pitch, touchdown Columbus. Then the next play after that, look at this run right here. Another one from Grayson Rigdon, and Columbus would get up 14-0. And they kept getting a couple other plays. One more play. You've seen the trend here. Another nice little pass from Adam Schubal. Fakes out everybody and then gets it to Cooper Osborne for the touchdown. 21-0 Columbus, and Columbus would run away here in this one, 49-6. And for Edna, again, their perfect season there comes to an end in that one. And again, for Edna, what a year there under Coach Jimmy Mitchell and this team. So to recap, our 2A teams there in Ganado and Shiner are advancing to the state championships there next week at AT&T Stadium. And then still, what great seasons there from our 3A teams in Tidehaven and Edna. That's all we got here in sports. Don and Shauna, back to you.
All right, thank you, Max, and stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, not even Santa could pull this one off. See how a suspect got stuck and then cuffed reported stabbing in Victoria this afternoon about 5:15. It happened at 1903 Lawndale Avenue. We'll show you the scene. There it is now, the Victoria Village Apartments. Victoria police say two men were fighting when one of the men was stabbed. Authorities say that man was transported to the hospital where he later died from his injuries. A suspect is in custody. This is an ongoing investigation.
A Massachusetts man fleeing from police had to be rescued after his Santa-like escape got him stuck in a chimney. Take a look at how it all played out. Police in Fall River say their officers were executing a search warrant at a home when two men fled onto the roof. One of them jumped from the roof and onto a parked vehicle and got away. But police say the second man decided to act like Santa and hid in the chimney, but he quickly became stuck. Officials were able to get him out and rescue him, then arrest him. And he's now facing multiple charges, including possession of drugs.
Wow.
So.
Now he's really stuck.
Yeah.
He is really stuck.
Probably needs a bath from all that soot in there. You know?
Yes. And you know, I wouldn't be surprised if some people around here got their fireplaces going the last couple
I
of
smelt the fireplace wood last night, so somebody's doing that. But I don't think you'll need it tonight because our low is not going to be anywhere near what we had this morning. We're only looking at a 55, 56 low temperature. Tomorrow we'll be up into the 70s. We're looking for damp and drizzly weather right on through the weekend. So it's not exactly clear and blue, but then again, it's December. It's going to be kind of overcast with a little rain. And don't forget to go to Walmart because something special is going to happen there.
We're going to do some bell ringing on Saturday morning.
Don's going to be ringing the bell.
Shauna is there, man.
Very good.
You gotta join in, man.
All right, well, the sound of those bells is like the sound of music from a violin, which those violins have been captivating audiences for centuries, and it remains one of the oldest and most beloved stringed instruments. This Friday, December 13th, is the perfect day to honor it because it's National Violin Day. While the violin is often linked to classical music, it's a versatile star in many genres, including jazz, rock, country, folk, some styles, they call it the fiddle. So definitely rich history going back hundreds of years. And so, you know, if you have a violin, get it out and play tomorrow. So, thanks for joining us.
25 News.